Welcome to our first ever ape-zero podcast. Today we are with José Antonio Hermida. Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I wanted to introduce you to our viewers. So your discipline is cross-country, right?
Yeah, since I was 14 years old.
1996, you're junior world champion. Then you're three-time European champion, one-time world champion. You're also under 23 world champion. You joined 5 times the Olympic Games. You got 1 silver medal. Plus, you're 6 times World Cup winner and 8 times Spanish national champion.
Yeah, I was busy for 20 years as a professional. As you mentioned, I won my first World Championships in 96 as a junior. That was the first time a Spanish rider won the World Championships. And yeah, actually, I started quite late because I started at 15 years old biking or riding my bike. And before I was a skater, a skateboarder. So I live up in the Pyrenees, close to Andorra. And I used to be a young kid with a lot of activity. And my parents, they just gave me the offer, the proposals to do a lot of sports. And it was skiing or running or skateboarding, all these kind of X game or X extreme sports. At that time, that was a long time ago. And suddenly one day I saw a guy in town riding a really strange bike. You know, it was not a road bike that I didn't like it. Actually, I was not fan of road bike. That's why I was a skater. And then suddenly I saw a guy with a really strange bike. It was between a BMX, a trial, and a road, and it was called mountain bikes. At 14 years old, I switched sports, and then I got in love with mountain bike. And till now, 2025, I still passionate of mountain biking.
We're going to start with 10 warm-up questions. And
yeah, that's good. I like it.
So, first question, gravel or mountain bike?
Mountain bike.
RockShox or Fox?
I think I'm more about Fox.
Flat pedals or clip-ins?
Clip pedals, since always.
Banana or gel?
Gel.
Cross country or downhill?
Cross country. I like more and more downhill that I'm retired now, but cross country. And I was a cross country rider with a downhill mentality, so I didn't miss downhill during my long career, but cross country.
Rampage or hardline?
Hardline, total. A little bit more natural. I like when it's kind of artificial and natural, and then the skills of the rider, you can see much better.
Pizza or paella?
Pizzella. It's a combo of both. It depends the time. If I'm busy, I pizza, and you need to make it fast. But paella makes more group, more familiar. But as a Spanish, I think it's paella.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
And Olympics or World Championships?
That's a good question. That's like mama or papa, you know. Olympics give you the media platform, and World Championships is your community. So
Okay.
I had the chance to be in both, and I think I'm more World Championships. You know, the recognize of your community. I really like that.
And last question, coffee or tea?
Coffee. Hey, this is always coffee. And if it's possible, after a ride and with a good company. Yeah.
Nice. Great, thanks. So we're going to go over to the more detailed questions. You basically covered the first question. How did you get into cycling? You went from skateboarding and saw a nice bicycle and said, like, what's that?
Yeah, but I can add you more things. For example, in my family, there is no tradition of sports. So I'm not coming from a cycling family or a sports family or even an Olympic family. So I'm an athlete like a mushrooms, you know, like a mushroom that appears in the forest without no stand. So that's exactly the same. My father is as a sport, he has hunting, and my mom is a normal person working at home. So there was no tradition. So that I mentioned that I started at 14 years old mountain biking. Till there, my parents, they offered me all the activities as possible. Just to entertainment, because I'm a quite a nervous person. I eat my nails. So they say, okay, before he eats the nails, so we better get some activities for the kid. And that's why I try different sports. And then, yeah, I started with mountain bike.
And what was your first mountain bike that you got?
My first mountain bike was when I was, that was in 92. I remember it was a Mongoose, American brand, Mongoose. And that was nice. Black, completely black. I still having it. So I have all my bikes from my career, but especially that one, that Mongoose, I have it. The second one bike, then I was already starting to make some races. It was a Diamondback Axis with a really retro fork. It was a Marzocchi with a 4 millimeter fork travel in front. So that was quite limited. And obviously it was a hardtail and 7 speed in the back and three chain rings in front. So that was my first bike for racing. And then I move on for my career. Then I was a Scott rider, and then Bianchi rider, and then Merida rider. But my first bike was a Mongoose, and where with the one I started to make a couple of races, and then suddenly my parents they bought me a more competitive bike that actually was a normal one, not really
Mhm.
a high level bike, and it was a diamond bike.
All right. Were they hard to get actually back in the days?
No. It was easy. That was 92, 93. You know, it was the boom, the big boom of mountain biking in Europe. Mountain bike shops they pop up suddenly in all the towns and cities. And maybe in the early in the 90s, 91, 92, or even 89, it was hard to get a mountain bike. Many people they got bikes from America and where mountain bike was invented. And then the brands it was not many brands in the market, but then 92, 93, 93 in Spain and whole Europe, it was a big boom of mountain biking. So it was in terms of factories, it was a lot of creativity, a lot of big brands they emerged in Europe. And then yeah.
How was the scene back in the days? Was it like that your friends joined you and they were riding with you,
Yes,
or were you basically one guy who decided I'm gonna go mountain biking now?
no. It was easy because well the colleagues that I used to skate with them, they also moved to mountain biking. And I live up in the Pyrenees, so skateboard was good, but it was no skate parks or facilities. So we used to do a street skateboarding, and then we spent a lot of money replacing wheels because it was not a thin asphalt; it was quite kind of beton up
Hmm.
in the mountains in the Pyrenees. So we destroyed a lot of boards and a lot of wheels. So it was a good change for all my colleagues. And then we moved all more or less in the same time to mountain biking. And it was quite cool because in the beginning it was just a game. We didn't think about go racing or go to become an Olympic champion or world champion. Nothing. It was just a natural way to move to the mountains and to explore the nature, and that was quite easy. So
Okay.
my three best colleagues, we started mountain biking. In the first summer, we just went up in the mountains and to explore our surroundings because with the skateboard was more complicated. And then wow, we got in love. We start to discover rivers and cliffs and peaks and the high mountains, the big roads, and then obviously we try to build jumps and all this stuff as a young kid and platforms and catapults. Most of the time it was more catapults than jumps because we always crash. And it was really easy to start mountain biking. The second summer, after the schools and everything, then a guy around a ski monitor, a ski teacher from the area because we have ski areas in where I live. I'm living in a place that is 1,000 meters altitude, the flat part of the
Okay.
valley, and then all the rest is 3,000 meters. So we have like eight ski areas around. I have the 30 minutes to Andorra, the ski areas of Andorra, then the ski areas of France, and the ski areas of Spain. So I'm living in a point that it's the three countries touching each other, just in the middle. And then a ski monitor, he just came to us when we were young, and then he proposed us, or he mentioned that he wanted to do a race close to my town, 10Ks. And then we used to ride with him on Saturdays and Sundays when we had free time after the school. And they say, guys, why you don't come with me to the race? And then it's a family race. And then we went all together. And that was funny because we had not proper racing equipment. So we just got a t-shirt, one of those shorts, and a helmet. I had no mountain bike helmet. So in my town, we have a ice hockey arena. And then I had an ice hockey helmet. So I took the ice hockey and then I made some holes to better ventilation, to better transpiration. And then I went there with a helmet, ice hockey helmet, and then a t-shirt and shorts, and and then I won the race. Was quite easy. I won the. It was in cadet, junior in or junior, under junior category. Was 14 years old, and that was the beginning. My first race I won. The second race I lost, or actually another person won it. So and then I started thinking, this is not going to be easy. Huh? I thought it was a talented in the first race, but then the second race I hit the wall, and then I thought this is something I like, and then I started to
It motivated you losing
yes,
the
yes, yes.
second
Yeah,
race.
yeah. It was really important. It was really important that I lose the second race and also the second and the third. And I lost. Actually, I lost much more races in my career than I won, and this is normal in a normal person. So because
Yeah.
only one wins, it teach me a lot to lose the second race I took part, and then and then I started to get super motivated and addicted to the sport.
What were the trends back in the days? Because I imagine it pretty experimental, right?
No one had a background with mountain bike. So some they came from road, former riders, some from cyclocross, former champion from cyclocross. Some guys they came from motocross because they got injured, and then the doctor said, "Okay, you have to do cycling and mountain biking for recovery." So they got addicted to mountain bike. So some they came from on inline skating or cross country skiing. So it was not a proper and official mountain bike rider. It was an athlete. I mean, it was a mix. It was a paella of everything. You know, it was a paella of many riders coming from other categories. And that was super exciting because the guys from motocross they came with a special helmets and a combo of colors and mountain bike philosophy. The guys from cross country super skinny clothing and a different mentality. The guys from running, the guys from on the road. So it was the beginning of something, the building of a sport, of a philosophy, and obviously, as you mentioned, it was also the beginning of training. I was lucky because I was not a pioneer of the mountain bike because I stepped in '92. And when I was a second year of a junior, I already had a trainer. And then this trainer was super involved in cycling, but at the same time, he got really addicted to mountain bike. So I had a proper schedule and plan it, and we tried to create a new methods of training, intervals, different long training, less training, technique. It was the beginning of everything. I was super excited. But everything, that means even nutrition. It was not even more or less invented the gels or the bars. So everybody had homemade sandwiches or bars or banana in the pocket, or it was super exciting. So nowadays, mountain bike is super good. I really like the mountain bike we are living now. But I miss. I hope that yeah. In one way, I'm a little bit sad that the new generations they can't feel that beginning in the 90s. That there was
Yeah.
beside your passion, it was something that you started to create something from zero. Factories and brands. It's
hmm
unbelievable. If you go to Google and you Google mountain bikes of the 90s, they are they are unbelievable bikes. Every engineer had a concept of about mountain bike, and they create a lot. They invent a lot. In the old times, I was in love with a downhill bike that it called Mountain San Andreas. Mountain San Andreas, and it was a full suspension, full aluminum monocoque frame. It was completely aluminum. And then the fork, it was an inverted fork. It was like nowadays, the Fox Podium or the RS1 RockShox from 10 years ago. That was in the 90s. It was a company that already built it, inverted fork. So it was at that time, because everybody wanted to create something, it was super creative. And engineers and companies, they had no fear to make mistakes. And it was, if you check bikes from the 90s, wow, it's unbelievable how they could even ride, because some of them, it was like a weapon. You thought, oh, if I ride, that thing can explode at a certain moment. So it was really funny times. When I moved to Scott, the first year of junior, I won with an aluminum bike, the Scott Comp aluminum bike, completely blue, and dimension tubes. The tubes, they were quite big. It was quite innovative at that time. And then when I won the World Championships in 96, and then I started to be professional in 97, January 97, with a Scott international team in Freiburg in Switzerland. And then I got the bike from the official team from the factory. I was a Scott Endorphin. Scott Endorphin was an unbelievable bike. I think it was a bike too early in the times, because it was a monocoque frame with only one tube in the rear triangle. And it was a hardtail, and it was made by thermoplastic. It was a kind of a fusion of plastic and some fibers. It was not really carbon. It was a thermoplastic. The concept was to have only one tube in the back. It was the real wheel. It was holded with one flat tube to the frame. And then the concept was that part of the bike could move 3 centimeters up and down. It was a kind of a frame.
So it was flexible somehow.
Exactly. It was flexible. It was a kind of a frame soft suspension. And it worked. It worked. It was unbelievable. It was then the bike made some evolutions, but it worked a lot. It was a super comfortable bike. If the guys, they go to my website and they check it, or they search for Scott Endorphin, it was absolutely a bike early in the times. It was too early, in my opinion. This bike, if they build it now, actually they made 2 years ago, I think, Scott, they made a concept bike, remembering this frame with SRAM electronic and the new 120 RockShox forks and everything. And it was super nice looking. Imagine 30 years ago. It was unbelievable. No, it was and then from Scott, I moved to Bianchi, to Italy, and then titanium bikes in the beginning, my first 2 years with the Bianchi, with Italians. And then the last year of my career with the Bianchi team, that was in 2003. I used the first carbon bike made by Bianchi, Italians. And then for them, it was a big brain explosion when carbon from Asia arrived to Europe or to the cycling scene. And then from since 2004, in the beginning I was rider. Now I'm ambassador. I'm working for Merida Bikes. But yeah, I'm 20 years in Merida Bike now. And then if you check my garage, I have all my bikes. One bike from each year. I had also always a rule in the contracts. I put it always in the contract, one bike from each year. And then I have all the original bikes from the World Championships, Olympics, Olympic Games, World Cups, or the most iconic bikes. I have one each year.
Yeah, you can see it also on the website. It's incredible. I just saw basically that you rode already a full suspension 2008, which
Yeah. In 2008,
yeah, right.
we had the 96. Actually, the current model of Merida, the Merida 96, it was invented in 2007. We had prototypes, and then we tested, and then we had a really nice prototype. It's the one you can see in the website. That is completely gray, and the decal, the picture, the colors are like a plane fighter, or how you call one of those military.
Yeah, the fighter jet. I get it.
Fighter jet, exactly. A fighter jet.
Yeah.
And it's super nice bike. But finally, we didn't use the bike because it was only 3 bikes existing. One I have it, and the other one is in Merida, in Stuttgart, in Maxtag, in the offices. And that bike was the purpose of the bike was to use at the Olympics in Beijing. But then finally I use a hardtail, and then that bike has 2 weeks use, maybe.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
not more than 2
Not
weeks
much.
use.
Not much
No,
kilometers
training
on
in
it. Yeah.
Beijing, and that's it for Olympic. But it was super nice, and that was the beginning of '96 model. Then it was an evolution from '96 model in 2008. We had in 2010, 2011. We had the model. It was an upgrade. It was 99. The Merida 99 model was a full suspension, also 100 millimeters in front, 100 millimeters in the rear. And then 2 years ago, we relaunched. We relaunched the 96, remembering more or less the same geometry, more or less not the geometry, but the position of the shock. We relaunched in Merida 96 model, and it's the model you can see now in our current catalog at Merida Bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you actually involved in the development of the bicycles?
Yes. No, not much. Not much, because my knowledge of the sport is more about the performance and about athletes. But yeah, prototypes. I test prototypes, but prototypes, they are more or less already designed, in aluminum frame, and then checking some different shocks or forks and accessories. More, let's say that I'm a final tester, and yeah, I'm involved in this in the beginning, in the brainstorm, then of the designing with informatic programs and all the big designs, kinematics and things like this. I'm not really involved in this case.
Okay.
So our engineers in Merida, they are super good ones. And then, yeah, then they start to arrive the prototypes, and then the rideable prototypes, I'm testing them. On the road, not much, actually nothing. I'm more off-road tester. More, I can ride the road bikes and test them, but for this case, we have the pro team, or the Bahrain Merida team,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the riders riding Tour de France or the classics, or all the big tours. They are more much better testers than me, because they really test them in official conditions, in racing conditions. And then I'm more in the gravel side, enduro, and mountain bike side. Yeah.
We need to talk about the Olympics also. How, I mean, 5 times. Incredible.
Yeah, 5
I
times
have
is
to,
20 years, huh?
yeah,
Every 4 years,
yeah.
20 years. Yeah, that's
Exactly. In
long.
the morning, I went over. I thought like, yeah, this must be 20 years actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
So you joined in Sydney, in Athens, in Beijing, in London, and in Rio, right? And you got fourth in Sydney.
And that was my first Olympics, and we were only two Spanish guys going there, because we were not a super country. The top countries, they have 3 spots, and then second 2 spots, and then 1 spot, and then 0 spots if you are out of the best 20 countries in the world. And in Spain, we were in the middle. We were so for us, it was actually, we have to remember our audience that Olympics in the mountain bike in the Olympics started in '96 in Atlanta, with the first Olympic champions. That was Paola Petto and Barb Brechtens. Barb Brechtens, the voice of mountain biking in Eurosport and Red Bull in the times. So, and Paola Petto, an Italian girl. That was the first 2 Olympic champions. And then I joined the Olympic movement in Sydney after I was a junior world champion in '96. Then I grew up as a rider, and then when I went to Sydney, Australia, I was 22 years old, and that was early for me, let's say, because in the Olympics is no elite category. So I was 22 years old, and my partner Roberto Lezaun, another Spanish, he was the elite rider. So actually, the pressure was on him, because he made World Cups and everything. And then in the year 2000, for me, it was early times in I made a lot of World Cups, but I was stepping and growing my level step by step. And yeah, I end up finishing 4th, and being part of the game, being an actor of the game. So and also I finished only if I don't remember wrong, it was 15 seconds to the podium, to Christoph Saucer. That was a third,
Wow.
and then I finished only really close, really close. So it was a big rush of adrenaline and a positive mood for me because I went there for to learn, and then finally I ended up being an actor of the game, one of the players, and that was a big experience, really big experience to make the Olympic move, to make it to Olympic spirit in the Olympic village, and then the races and the pressure, also the pressure, a lot of pressure, TVs, and that was really cool, really cool. Then finishing fourth, it was a good rush of motivation to go and work harder for the next Olympics. That it was in 2004, as you mentioned, in Greece, in Athens. There I finished second. Absalom won the race. Second me, and third it was Barbara Agents. I was fighting for the race till the last lap, and then I had a small crash, and then Absalom escaped, and then I couldn't catch back the lost times, and then Absalom won. Absolutely deserved it because he was the strongest guy that day. That moved me second position. That moved me up more motivation to work for for an Olympic title. And it was Beijing. Beijing, it was completely different. That was one kind of a step back because I finished in 10th position with some health problems. And like everybody has always something. Absalom won again. And then I was there, not really fighting for the race. I was fighting to finish between 5 and 10, more or less. And then I finished 10. It was a good result also. I'm not unhappy about that. It was a super good result. Then the next Olympics was London. Then I finished fourth again.
Mhm.
Chocolate, the chocolate medal. We always say is the wood medal or chocolate medal, and that was even that was a tough one. That was a tough one. I finished only 5 seconds to the medal, and I had in that Olympics we the official riders from SRAM, we used the single chainring in front and 11 speeds in the 11 speed on the back. That was it was Nino Schurter, Kulabi, and me. We were only three riders using a SRAM single, not Eagle. It was not the Eagle, but it was the XXO. XXO single channel in front, and then at one lap to go, we were four riders: Nino Schurter, Kulabi, Fontana, the Italian guy, and me, and then the chain jump from the chain. So it was a drama. So that was a really drama. It was some tears even, and yeah, I couldn't. One lap to go. The race was open. It was more or less a sprint race. Then I put the chain back, and then I tried to catch back, but it was not time. It was not time to recover. And yeah, Kulabi won the Olympics in front of Nino Schurter with a tight sprint in the last corner, and then won the third spot, the medal, the bronze medal, and then I finished at 5 seconds to Fontana, to Marco Aurelio Fontana, the Italian, a good guy. We are friends, and we were together in the wedding and everything, but at that time we were enemies. So I finished five. I was a little bit angry, but that was mechanical problems. That happens. It happens to me. Sometimes it happens to the others. And then my last Olympics was Rio in Rio in Brazil, 2016 with 38 years old, and I ended up finishing 15th position. That was quite good. They say the sport changed a lot. 20 years starting in Sydney with 2 hours racing a time, and then I end up my career racing 1 hour 25 in Rio mountain biking. So the sport changed a lot since I started in the 90s till I retired from the professional in 2016. That was my last World Cup in Andorra at home. So then I continue doing races, but no cross country races or World Cup. No. I just do some marathons for pleasure, to testing the bikes, for to be ambassador. But if I keep it as a professional from 92 till 2016, when I finished my professional career as a rider, as a proper rider, it changed a lot the sport. Absolutely changed a lot.